Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing on the series of building out this 1,720 pound Harbor Freight trailer. We are going to be attaching the decking to this trailer. What we're doing today is applicable to many trailers, not just this one. And we're gonna get the decking mounted. As you can see, I've already got half the decking mounted. I guess I should mention, this is a series. We've done a lot of stuff to this trailer. We've upgraded the tires to 13-inch radials with longer stud posts. We've updated the tail lights and the side marker lights so that they're smaller and recessed so that they don't get broken as easily. We've added undermount ramps. We've added an undermount tire storage for your spare tire. We swapped out the front hitch for a better grade hitch that you can integrate a trailer jack stand into. Upgraded the safety chains. I think that about covers it to this point. But for today's exercise, we're going to finish out mounting the decking material. So like and subscribe to the channel. Definitely check out all the other stuff, but let's get to the decking. So for the decking, the Harbor Freight guide just tells you to use some pressure treated plywood. Pressure treated plywood doesn't use waterproof glue, basically. So it will eventually delaminate over time. What I've chosen to use here is 3/4 inch marine grade plywood. You will have to go to a lumber supplier to get marine grade plywood. Pressure treated plywood is about $60 for a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet. Marine grade plywood is about $220, give or take, depending on how close you are to the water. It's a little cheaper if you're closer to the water, I think, more readily available. But in this case, this was about 220 bucks. It was a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet to start out with. Ripped the sheet in half. So then I have two 4-foot sections because the trailer is foldable. So I wanted to keep it so that you could technically fold it if you wanted to after the fact. And then I've gone ahead already and stained this, both sides, and put a coat of poly on it. You can choose to finish it however you want. You could have left it the way it was. It is ostensibly waterproof. It's marine plywood. It's for driving around in the water. But I just wanted it to match closer to the color of the trailer. So I used stain because stain isn't going to necessarily peel off and it'll just last longer. And then as you can see, 50% of the trailer is already mounted. You can see that we've got recessed hex bolts. These are M1035s with a hex set on the top of them. Each one has a washer on the top of it. Each one has a bolt, keeping in practice with all the same grade 8 hardware that's on this thing. We're gonna have to cut a notch out around the hinges. Gonna have to figure out how to line the holes up. I'm gonna show you how to do that so that you can get through to the frame, because we're using pre-existing holes in the frame. We're not drilling brand new holes. And then we're also on the bottom side of the frame making notch outs for these bolts that stick up. So like you got a bolt here and a bolt here. They're sticking up. We're cutting little notch outs with some Forstner bits. I guess let's get to it. Okay, I guess the first thing we have to do is on the corners that are going to be over here by the hinge, we need to cut little notches out, about a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch square notch, so that it'll slide up closer to here, because this little bolt kind of gets in the way of your frame sliding in there. So we're going to cut a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch on both sides out. So you could just use your speed square to measure up 3/4 of an inch, draw a line, 3/4 of an inch, draw a line, square it up, better than that, and then do the same thing on this far side. and then we need to cut it out. I'm just going to use a little quick coping saw and cut it out. Oops. And we'll fix this when we restain it outside after we've got all of it. There's one side, and let's do the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to notch out 4. Okay, so we have the trailer here, and we can see that when we lay it out and we get the decking on there, that wherever there's a bolt like this, it's sort of sticking up. But we know the distance between here and here on the bolt, so we're just going to mark all the way around the frame wherever we have one of these bolts, and we're going to kind of make a recess on the bottom side with a Forstner bit. Now, up here, I've gone ahead and left a little bit of a seam between the two frame pieces. We'll say that that does not look pretty. I probably need to clean that one up later, but I'll get it all cleaned up after I get everything mounted so that it's nice and square. But for the time being, let's just get it mounted in. Okay, let me take this, mark it, and so you can see what I'm doing. Here it is. So we're going to draw a line on the side about center with where it's at, right? Then we're just going to take the pencil and take it in and scribe the edge of the bolt. So now I know where the edge of the bolt is on the underside. So when I flip it over, I can do the same thing to this one. There's the bolt. So let's grab a line straight down, and then let's grab a line across it so we know where the edge of the bolt is. And we'll do the same thing. Okay, so I have it flipped over, and you can see there's my red mark there, and there's my red mark there. And this red mark transfers to where the edge of the head of the bolt was sitting, right? So I need to drill out closer to the edge so that the head of the bolt is in there. And that's what we're going to use this little template for. I've already pre-drilled our hole and the template, and then we line the template up closer to the edge, right? And then we clamp it in place, and then we can drill it out. Now the Forstner bits that we're using today, these are a set of Diablo Forstner bits. But a fun fact about Diablo is owned by the Plywood woodworking company. So even though it's a Diablo set, it's all Freud bits. So quick little tip, you can get the set in Diablo or you can get the set in Freud, and the price difference is like, I don't remember, but I feel like it was like 50 bucks cheaper to buy the Diablo ones, and they're basically the exact same blades. So save yourself some money. Get the Diablos. I'm just happen to be partial to Diablo, but it works out. So also mentioned over here in the corners, we drew similar marks here, so we know that the bolt is sitting like that. So we will line up our template and drill it out that way. We only need to drill down enough to get the bolt to recess into the bottom, and then these white chalk lines are just reminders all the way around for me so that I know that I need to drill that out, so on. So let me set the camera up and you can watch me drill these out. Okay, so we have the template lined up. We're using a 1 3/8. Could probably use a smaller one, but I chose to use an 1 3/8 just to give me a little wiggle room. And all you're going to do is you stick it in here. You've already got these clamped down. And remember, we just need to remove enough material for the head to recess. A little bit more. Okay, so now let's just look at it so you can get the point of what I was getting at. Just need to remove enough so that the head recesses. Actually, could use a teeny bit more, frankly. So there. Now you can see the head is fully recessed. So we just need to go around and do it to all of them. I set the clamps up here on the corner, and we'll drill the corner out. And by the way, I probably should have mentioned, make sure you wear your safety glasses. Sure, I'm in flip-flops, but wear your safety glasses. See on the corner? So now it's recessed, right? I gotta do that. I gotta do the rest of the corners. I'm gonna stop filming this because it's the same process. Okay, all the holes are drilled. You can see all the way around. And we've blown everything off. So now we need to bring it back in and see how it fits. Okay, we gone ahead and brought it inside, and as you can see, it's nice and level. And if we go like into the corner there, you can see like what we were trying to do there. We were trying to recess it underneath. Each nut is recessed. So if you follow along the edge, it's all nice, neat, and recessed all the way around. Nice even up all the way around over to here. Gotta clean that up, but same thing here. The nut is recessed. Now that joint looks terrible, and the joint over there on the far side looks terrible too. Probably have to fix that. But anyway, the next phase is to climb underneath the trailer and chalk all the holes that we want to put a stud in, and we'll do that and then pre-drill them. So let's go do that next. So as you can see, we laid it down, and then from the bottom side I crawled under there and I chalked each of the existing holes on the corners that I want to drill out, and then on the other side I'm going to make a recessed mounting point. So I have all the holes chalked. So now I just need to take a drill bit. We're going to drill through with a smaller drill bit. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to make our recessed holes. I'll film that in a second, but first I'm just going to pre-drill all the backs of these out. Okay, the process for these is very much the same. We've flipped it over, we've pre-drilled the holes. We used a smaller drill bit and we went real slow to try to avoid having it flake out, but you do get some flake out sometimes. You just can't avoid it. Well, you could avoid it. You could put some tape over these and they wouldn't flake out, but I'm not too worried about it. It's a trailer deck and we're gonna restain it. But the general principle is the same. This time we have a 1-inch hole for our Forstner bit, right? And we're gonna line up our hole sort of dead center to there. We're gonna clamp it down and then we're gonna drill it out. Probably not gonna film this part. Maybe I will. I'm not gonna film this. We're just gonna drill it out. You saw kind of how you do this. You clamp it in place, you drill it down. You need to make sure that the bolt head recesses. In this case, you want the bolt head to recess the bolt head width plus a washer. And then after we're done with that, we're gonna take the 3/8 drill bit here and we're gonna drill the holes all out so that the bolts will go through. So let me go do that now. So I've gone ahead and drilled all of them out, but just as a point of reference, if you wanted the bolt plus washer width, kind of a cheater is on this 1-inch. If you stick it in there, it's basically the depth of the drill bit. Anyway, all right, now we got to take the 3/8 and we got to drill all the holes out. So now that we've drilled all these holes out, we've ruined our finish. So we need to take some some stain. I'm going to use black with poly that's already built in, and I'm just going to restain each of these holes. So I'm just going to use a shop rag, nothing special. Make sure you wear gloves, and then you can just kind of put it in the hole, spin it, get it around to all the edges. Didn't get enough. Let's get a little bit more in there. Okay, now should have enough, and it's pretty much stained up. You could use a brush, but then you just kind of clean it up with the tail end of this. So, and then we're going to clean up these parts here, and we're going to clean up the edges here that we screwed up. So paint that. And then I'm just going to continue all the way around. No point in you watching me stain holes and clean up stain. But that's the point. We're going to restain all these holes. We're going to flip it over and we're going to restain all those holes. Okay. So I've gone ahead and brought the deck back in. We've drilled all the holes. We've got our recessed holes. We've got it all fixed so it won't, so it sits flush and won't move. I've put a couple bolts in just so it doesn't jiggle around while I'm sitting on it here. We're gonna fix every hole with a M10 35 millimeter hex bolt. These are grade 8 as well. Going to use a washer with the hex bolts. Generally, you want to use a washer when you're using a hex bolt. And fun fact about washers, one side of your washer is usually rounded, one side of your washer is usually flat. For at least automotive applications, make sure the rounded side is towards your fastener and the flat side is toward your deck or equipment you're fastening against. So you should be able to get these in. You might have to persuade them, but they should all line up and go in. I've already put the fasteners in the right place. Should be able to just whack them in there and then go around and put our nuts. So, as you can see, they all fit in. I just need to now go around and fasten them all off. The heads on these, I think, are 6 millimeters. Yeah, 6 millimeters. So I'm just going to go around and fasten them all up with the torque or with the angle wrench and just get it all done. We've got the deck on, and you can see I've actually added an E-track rail to the deck. We're going to go ahead and finish adding all these E-track rails, but I wanted to kind of go over it. So we bolted on the remainder of this deck, obviously, and then I'm going to be using the existing bolt holes here. There's one here and one here that go right into the frame, and then we're going to add 2 bolts here. We're going to use some M10 M40 or M10 40 millimeters. So we're going to cut these to 46 1/4 each to match what we did on the inside. So 46 1/4. And remember, wear your safety glasses. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've laid out our track all the way around. That one's bolted in, obviously, because we finished it. But we need to go through now and we need to mark the pre mounted positions. So like these two bolt holes actually line up with specific holes already. These two line up with specific holes already in the frame, and the same thing over there on the front. So the idea is we're going to go ahead and mark the holes that line up with bolt positions. And then we're going to just sort of mark second one in from the end on all of them, and then we're going to pre-drill them out, because if you look at a frame here, the bolt obviously doesn't fit in the hole. So we need to take, so these are M1040s, right, like we talked about. We need to take our step bit and we need to ream the holes out. So let's go do that outside. Remember, put on your safety glasses. So we need to drill out this hole and this hole on this side, and we're going to use a step bit, and then that way the bolt will fit. All right, let's drill them out. And does the bolt fit? Yep. Let's drill that one out. And the bolt should fit. And there you go. Now we just got to do that a bunch more times. All right, let's get going. Okay, so now they're drilled, and let me just kind of zoom in on the angle here. So that actually will fit over top of that hole, and that one will fit dead on over top of that hole. If I line this up just right, so you can see that guy lines up, and that guy lines up. Well, mostly lines up. There you go. So they're dead on, and then what we've done is we've drilled out a bolt hole for here and a bolt hole for here, and then in the middle here, maybe every other, we'll fill in some of those screws. So you can see, like, I filled in some of those screws as we move along, and I filled in no screws on the outer edge really, except in the middle, and then on the end, and the end, right? So now what we need to do is we need to pre-drill out that hole into the deck and pre-drill that hole into the deck, and, you know, go around and do the same activity. So let me get to doing that. No need for you to watch me pre-drill holes. Okay, all the rails are in. You can see I've put on the little movable tie downs, and you can see that basically we have lots of ways to tie things down to this trailer. I'd like to say that this is the last segment in this trailer build, and if you've been watching the trailer build, thank you. It's many segments, but we're going to do probably one or two more segments. So as a teaser, you can see over here, there's a welder. We've gotten very far in the trailer build purposefully without using a welder. But in order to mount roughly here a 2,500 pound winch, we're going to need to use a welder to put all that together. So basically, this will conclude the part where we built the trailer out, and we've only used like generic tools. I will mention from a tool standpoint, stubby wrenches, stubby ratchets, and stubby sockets are your friend when you're building this trailer out from Harbor Freight. The stubby socket is also Tools. Not a sponsor or anything, but I do like the also Tools sockets. They make it so that you can stick them inside of maybe just a ratcheting stubby wrench, or you can put them on your ratchet, power ratchet, or whatever. It takes up a lot less space. It's very nice. These are stubby wrenches from Harbor Freight. These are icons. This is a stubby flex drive from Snap-on. Many companies make all of these tools. I would recommend you pick up some stubby stuff. But that's going to conclude the trailer build to this point. We have to put the fenders on. I'll get around to it eventually. But right now we could put some product on here using the recessed ramps that we put in. We know our tail lights aren't going to get broken and our side lights aren't going to get broken because we've made them all little recessed LEDs. We know that the front is going to work great because we upgraded the hitch. Got a trailer jack. I mean, we're doing great. Check the series out. Like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. There's plenty of other content coming. This just happens to be a series build on this trailer that I wanted to focus on for some of the first content to the channel. Thank you for watching this far, and be on the lookout for some welding. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day.